This is a 1993 Dodge Dakota LE Club Cab pickup truck, automatic with a 3.9-liter V6 Magnum engine. These trucks came with 4, 6, and 8-cylinder Dodge Magnum engines. This is the first generation Dakota, manufactured 1988 through 1996. I'm into my 4th year of ownership with this truck. It had sat a good bit before I bought it, and I spent a lot of time chasing electrical ghosts out of the wiring harness. For a year now it's been doing great, but as the warm weather of summer has come in, it seems to be hard to start. There's even a loss of power, rough idle, low idle speed, and the gas mileage is down, and it's even cut out a few times at stops. Some sensors can be bad and cause the ECM to trigger other codes for sensors that may be out of spec. So it can get interesting indeed under the hood. That's when you get into the wiring. This test will tell me if the ECM has any pending codes. I've been getting a code 25. I'll show you how to do this test. I roll the ignition switch forward 3 times without starting the truck, and then I wait for the check engine light and buzzer to stop. So that is 1 and 1, 2. That is 12, the start of the test. Then I see 2 flashes. And that's 5 flashes. That indicates a code 25. Then you'll see here I get 2 more 5 flash sequences. That indicates the end of the test. A code 25 is an indication of a possible defective I.A.C, or internal air control. The I.A.C itself may need to be cleaned, as well as the area it sits in. This code could also mean a possible wiring defect between the idle air control and the engine control module, or ECM. A vacuum leak may also throw this code, so check for any possible broken vacuum lines or hoses or lines. My truck has a diagram under the hood of the vacuum system. I've already been through the wiring on this truck many times and had my battles with all of that. I have replaced this connector twice, having 60 pins. My truck uses 50 of those, so that was 50 wire splice that took a good bit to do, because you got to make sure you got all the right wires going to the right place and the colors are right. It's just a big pain in the butt, especially to have to do it twice. I've replaced the ECM twice too. The first one I got from O'Reilly's was junk as soon as the warranty expired. So I just ended up getting one from a junkyard for about $80, and that seems to work great. Go figure. I've been through the vacuum system on this truck previously as well, so I'm going to do the right thing for me, and that's replace the probably 30-year-old idle air control. If this don't fix it for me, I'm going to look at cleaning the throttle body and its cavity with throttle body cleaner, but I've already previously done that when I changed the fuel injectors last year. The first thing I will do is disconnect the positive cable of my battery. I sometimes use a 10-watt 1-ohm ceramic resistor and put that across both of the battery cable leads, and that'll provide a slow power drain off. But I have no clue where that is at the moment, but leaving the ECM on the truck disconnected for a good while will usually clear the codes. And if you do have a code, always clear the computer first and see if it comes back. Generally, any code that the dash code throws will stay in it, even if you fix something, unless you disconnect the battery and clear it out. Anytime you change a sensor or repair any part of the wiring harness, always disconnect your battery to prevent any chance of shorting out something or shocking yourself or possibly zapping the ECM. And never put your positive and negative battery cables together to clear the computer. This could also present the possibility of zapping your ECM. It's better to be safe than sorry. These ECMs are not cheap. The idle air control is located here on the back of the throttle body. I marked all this stuff off when I got the truck actually, so I would know what all this stuff is. The unit is held in place by two T20 Torx screws. Just remove those. Then the idle air control should slide out of its mount. As a good measure, you may want to spray some throttle body cleaner into the mounting slot and clear up any carbon buildup that may be in that passage. Then I'm going to remove the electrical connector. This is my new OEM idle air control. I got this on eBay. This is the part number of this unit. I will connect my power connector. Then I will slide the new idle air control into place, and I will get my screws started. Then we just tighten back up the two T20 Torx screws. Now I will replace my breather, and yes, I need a new PVC hose. Some redneck engineering going on there. That's the next thing on the list, along with an oil change. Now I will reinstall my positive battery cable, look around and smell around a minute, make sure everything's good. Now I will roll my key forward 3 times and do the ECM check engine light test here again and see if the code 25 has disappeared. That way I'll know if my computer has cleared. Okay, the light will flash a 1 and 2 sequence indicating a code 12, the start of the test. Okay, that's 5 flashes. And that's another 5 flashes. So the computer has reset. Now anytime you reset one of these ECMs, it's going to run funny for a little bit, maybe as much as a whole day before it gets back to figuring out your engine and driving habits. Yeah, when you first start them up after resetting the computer, you get that little rough run there, especially the first few minutes, so don't panic too much. And if you think you done something wrong, well, not quite yet. It's got to figure out everything again and smooth it all out for you. As long as your ECM was good before, you should be good to go. Now, I can already tell I have some of my power back, even though the ECM is figuring it all out right now. I have decent acceleration again. Keep in mind, even the Dakota V8 is no rocket engine. The Magnum V6 ain't gonna go 0 to 60 in 8 seconds, no way. More like 12 to 18 or more. Now coming up here, you're going to see one of these stop sign exempt vehicles. Now folks, these are drivers who pay their taxes. They have special rights on the road because, hey, they pay for it and own it. Even though you do also, that don't matter. Their time is more valuable than yours. Their agenda is just, you know, You just better get out of the way. This is Burton Road and Joe Moore. The stop sign here is right on the corner, as you can see. You see me coming down Burton Street here, and this guy blows the stop sign heavy. He's also pulling a trailer, which had to be a rough ride over that hump there. And I'm what, 3 or 4 seconds here? I would have been wiped out by this guy. Jeez, people wake up. Okay, I can tell the ECM is still figuring stuff out, but I can tell it's running better already. Okay, I'm back in the driveway after about a half-mile drive. I will do the dashboard ECM test again. I'm looking for a clear ECM that is a start code of 12 and an end test code of 55 and nothing in between. Okay, that's a sequence of 1 and 2 flashes, which is 12, the start of the test. Okay, that's 1, 5. And that's another 5. That's 55, the end of the test. So that seems to have fixed my code 25. Okay, tomorrow I gotta make a trip to Home Depot and go about 20 minutes away to stain a porch deck. So we'll see how all that goes. Okay, it's the next day. My first stop is going to be Home Depot for some pine needles and some 12 by 12 cement walkers to put under some picnic tables. It started right up, unlike it hasn't been doing. I also seem to have good idle speed back, around 800. That's what it should be on these trucks. At least with my V6, that's what it's supposed to be. Before I was down to around 400 or 500, it would almost drop to 0 when I slowed down or stopped sometimes. When I come up to this grade the other day, I was down in the gas really far. Today it seems to have more power and get up and go. I'm not as far down in the gas. Okay, there's a curb before this intersection here, so you want to get on and go here. I was sluggish here last week as well. That's a definite improvement. Actually running smooth today. This is a pretty good hill here on Wahlberg High Point Road. I was way down in the gas with a trailer last week to get up this hill. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. Good power today. Okay, pulling into Home Depot in North High Point, North Carolina. There are the lawnmowers for sale. Way overpriced if you ask me, like everything else now. Okay, I'm going to pull over here and get some pine needles, get loaded up, go back home, and we'll check the codes again. Okay, I'm back from Home Depot with no problems. I'm going to unload these pavers that I got and go do a porch deck stain job that's about 20 minutes away. Okay, I made it here with no problems. Just want to show you this stain I'm using. A great color and application. This is Sherwin-Williams Super Deck. It was on sale. I'm sold. Anything on sale, I'm sold if it's really good quality. Sherwin-Williams is usually really good stuff. I love this color. It's going on great. So we'll take a look here before And this is a look after. Love that color. Man, it just went on so good and easy. Really looks good. Sherwin-Williams Super Deck. I recommend it. Okay, well, we'll make the 20-minute drive back to the house now, and then we'll check the ECM for any codes. Okay, I'm back at the shop, farm, home, whatever we decide to call it on any given day. I'm going to roll the key forward 3 times and check and see if I got any codes. Okay, there's our code 12. There's 1 5 4 5. That's code 55 right there, and that's the end of the test. Hey, I'm still good. All right. I don't have as much driving to do tomorrow, but I'll take you along for snips of my day and we'll see what happens. Okay, it's the next day. I have a trim job over in Central High Point I'm going to head to. It's already a hot day, as you can see by the thermometer here, and it's only going to get hotter. Be a good little test for the Dakota today. The truck started up great and seems to be running great. Now coming up here, you're going to see another one of these stop sign exempt drivers. I'm coming down Rotary here. The other car is coming out of Ferndale Boulevard here. There's a stop sign here on this corner, plain as day, just like all the others. But this is a stop sign exempt vehicle. Here I come, get out of the way.
Seen that?
Don't you know who I am? Get out of my way, peasant. In slow motion here, you can see the person coming the other way here also has to slow down. The one in my opposite lane. Jeez. This is a throw-in. Here's the same place a few days later when I'm coming back to this job. Stop sign exempt thing didn't exactly work out good for this person. People, wake up. When you drive, pay attention. I drive around almost every day and this is a common thing. No excuse for it, really. Just slow down. Stop at the stop sign. Don't pull out in front of people. Are you so broke you can't pay attention? I mean, really. Okay, I'm arriving at the property I'm working on today. This monstrosity of vines and growth. Believe it or not, it's not as bad as the first time I worked on this property some years ago when the vines were dug in hard and thick in the beds here and on the brickwork of the house. I spent probably a week just removing vines from this house. The lady, bless her heart, she calls me here once a year. I remove a bunch of vines, trim everything up. It grows up over the summer. Then she calls me again the next year, and I do it all over again. Oh, man. Well, believe it or not, there were 2 hedge bushes underneath all of that. It is so hot out here today, and I'm at a stopping point. So I think I'm going to buckle and bounce from here. We'll head back to the shop and do the check engine code test, and hopefully there's no code 25 or any other codes. It's been doing great so far, so I feel pretty good about it. Okay, I'm back home now. I need to unload some stuff and eat some dinner. Then I'll come back out and do an ECM code check. It's 101 degrees outside this evening. Miserable indeed. Let's head out to the Dakota and see if my ECM has dropped any codes today. I doubt it, cause really it's ran good the last 2 days. We'll roll the key forward 3 times. When the engine light goes out, we'll see what it's got. Okay, there is the 1 and 2 sequence, which indicates the start of the test. There's 1, 5. And there's another 5. That's 55. That indicates the end of the test. So we are code clear for now. So if you start throwing codes on your ECM, the first thing you want to do is check for faulty wiring or deteriorated wiring. You can do an ohms test on your sensor too and see if it's shorted out. I can tell you some spots I corrected on my truck. You can start it up and wiggle some wires around and see if that makes any difference in the way the truck runs. That's another good indicator you might have a problem. You can wait till night, start it up, see if you have any sparks or shorts in the wiring that you can visibly see. There are also splices in the harness that join multiple wires together. You'll see them, they'll be wrapped with that car cloth tape. There's one right up under the windshield washer reservoir. And over to the left under your fuse and relay box, there is a splice there in the harness. And on the captain's side of the engine, there are 2 splices in the harness on this side, one kind of towards the back and another one kind of in the middle. And on the drinker's side, if I remember correctly, there's 1 splice over here on this side. Hopefully you won't have to ever replace one of these defective connectors. They are really delicate. They connect to the ECM with 60 pins inside of them that are very thin. And I've had the pleasure of messing with one of these things twice. The ECMs will go bad also. My original one did, and my replacement from O'Reilly's did also, even remanufactured supposedly. An original junkyard match for 80 bucks on eBay has already outlasted that as compared to the $260 remanufactured one from O'Reilly's. They are probably more than that now, like everything else. I've seen dealers on eBay that will repair these and send them back to you for around $130, but you're without your truck till you get that back, you know. So you may want to keep a few of these around if you can obtain them actually. You can take off your connector and spray some contact cleaner on the connector and the pins of the ECM. Just be careful when you reinstall the connector. Don't ever over torque it. You always want to tighten these back up with a hand ratchet, never with anything automatic, because you can easily over torque it and break the mount. And the bolt will either fall out, or if it breaks inside the ECM, you're not even going to get this connector off of there. So handle these with kid gloves. This stuff is, after all, 30 years old. Okay, that's putting an I.A.C or idle air control on a first generation Dodge Magnum engine. I've been driving around for about a week now or so, and the truck is doing great. It starts great, it maintains idle speed at startup, and when I have to stop and sit, it sits there and idles at the regular speed, unlike these stop sign exempt vehicles that don't need an idle air control, right? I hope this video helps you in some way eliminate a code 25. Like I said before, this code did not trip my check engine light, so I don't know how far out of spec the I.A.C has to be to do that, but mine certainly was either not working or not working correctly. My truck progressively got hard to start, and I had a loss of power. I had shaky idle. I had occasionally cut-offs at stoplights and stop signs. So the dashboard roll key revealed the I.A.C was the part to look at, so I replaced that, and it seems to have solved my code 25. I hope this helps you out with your Dodge Dakota pickup truck. Just be sure to check that wiring harness for those splices I mentioned and your continuity to your ECM with these parts. If you get one of these first generation trucks, you can almost certainly expect to have problems with sensors and wiring, so be aware. You got to be patient and go through everything and you'll figure it out. All this stuff is 30 years old now, and wiring connectors will go bad, splices will corrode and open up. I replaced all the fuel injector connectors on mine and the fuel injectors themselves actually. The ECM also has electrolytic capacitors in it and a computer chip. All that stuff is 30 years old now, and it's going to need replacing soon enough. Let me know and others know about your experiences with these trucks. I really love mine. I like the way it drives and handles. Overall, it's been a great truck for me as I figured out all its quirks. Would I rather have a Ford or Chevrolet? Well, between the two, a Ford certainly. This is the first Dodge truck I've ever owned. I've got mixed feelings about it, I guess. I've had a 68 Ford pickup truck that I could kick myself for selling now, but sometimes circumstances dictate stuff. And I've had a 1992 Chevrolet C10. Thankfully, the new I.A.C has put me back in business, and hopefully this video will help you clear a code 25 on your first generation Dodge Dakota pickup. Blessings everyone, from my shop to yours.